I drove my wife and her lover to the middle of nowhere and left them there. No cell service, no lights, no way back. And I don't regret it. My name doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that 2 months ago, I was a man trying to save his marriage by working 3 jobs. Today, I'm the guy who snapped in the worst possible way. This is the story of how financial desperation, betrayal, and one night behind the wheel destroyed everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and how much a person can take before they break completely. 6 months ago, my wife Jessica and I were drowning, not in water, in bills, in debt, in the kind of stress that makes you wake up at 3 in the morning with your heart racing, doing math in your head, trying to figure out which bill you can skip this month without losing electricity or getting evicted. I worked full-time as a warehouse supervisor, 40 hours a week, decent pay, but not enough, not nearly enough. Jessica worked as a receptionist at a dental office. She'd recently started picking up evening shifts at a hotel front desk to bring in extra money. We were both exhausted all the time, but we told ourselves it was temporary, that if we just pushed through, just worked a little harder, we'd make it. We'd been married for 4 years, together for 7. We met at a friend's barbecue. She was wearing this yellow sundress and laughing at something someone said, and I couldn't take my eyes off her. We started talking and didn't stop for hours. She was smart, funny, beautiful. She made me feel like I could be better than I was. We got married young, maybe too young. We were both 23. Everyone told us to wait, to establish our careers first, to be more financially stable. But we were in love. We thought love was enough. For a while it was. We had a small apartment, not much furniture, but we were happy. We'd cook dinner together, watch movies on our laptop, make plans for the future, kids someday, a house with a yard, normal dreams that normal people have. Then reality hit. My company cut overtime. Jessica's office reduced her hours. Rent went up. Car payments, student loans, medical bills from when Jessica had to get her appendix removed and our insurance barely covered anything. Credit card debt that kept growing no matter how much we paid. We started fighting. Not big, dramatic fights. Quiet, tired fights about money, about whether we could afford to go out to eat, about whether we needed to cancel our streaming services, about whether we should ask our parents for help, which we both hated the idea of. Jessica started working those evening shifts at the hotel. She'd come home after midnight, exhausted, barely able to talk. She'd shower and fall into bed, and I'd already be asleep because I had to be up at 5 for my shift. We stopped having real conversations, stopped having sex, stopped being a couple, and became 2 people who lived in the same apartment and shared the same pile of unpaid bills. That's when I started driving for rideshare companies. My boss at the warehouse wouldn't approve overtime, said budget was tight, so I figured I'd make my own overtime. I told Jessica I was driving for Uber. She wasn't happy about it, but understood we needed the money. What I didn't tell her was that I'd installed every rideshare app I could find. Uber, Lyft, 3 other smaller companies. I'd have them all running at the same time, taking whoever paid the most. Some nights I'd work until 3 or 4 in the morning, then go straight to my warehouse job at 6. I'd sleep in my car during lunch breaks. I was running on coffee, energy drinks, and the desperate hope that if I just worked hard enough, we'd get ahead. I barely saw Jessica anymore. Our schedules were completely opposite. I'd leave for the warehouse before she woke up. She'd leave for her evening shift before I got home. I'd be out driving when she came back. We'd see each other maybe an hour on Sundays. That was it. But I told myself it was worth it, that this was what marriage meant. Sacrifice, working hard for the person you love, building a future together even when the present was miserable. I never suspected anything, never had a reason to. Jessica wasn't the type to cheat. She was loyal, honest, straightforward. At least that's what I thought. That's what I needed to believe, because it was the only thing keeping me going. The night it happened was a Friday. I'd worked my full shift at the warehouse, came home, grabbed something to eat, and headed out to drive. Friday and Saturday nights were the best for making money. Drunk people, people going to parties, people who'd pay surge pricing without thinking about it. Around 1:30 in the morning, I got a pickup at a nightclub downtown called Velvet. 5-star rating requested. The fare looked good, and the drop-off was only about 15 minutes away. I accepted. I pulled up outside the club. The place was just closing. People were stumbling out, laughing, yelling, some of them clearly wasted. Security guards stood by the door, making sure everyone left. Music was still thumping from inside. I checked my phone for the passenger details. Michael, that was the name. I waited. A few minutes later, I saw them. A man and a woman walking out of the club together. The man was tall, wearing an expensive-looking suit, the kind with the shiny material that catches the light. His shirt was unbuttoned at the top. He had his arm around the woman's waist. She was laughing at something he said, her head tilted toward his shoulder. They were clearly together. The body language said everything. The way he touched her, the way she leaned into him, the comfort between them. They walked towards my car. I unlocked the doors. The man opened the back door and gestured for the woman to get in first. Real gentleman. "Thanks, driver," he said, his voice loud and slightly slurred. "Man, what a night. That place knows how to party. You ever been there, driver?" "No, sir." "You should check it out. Great music, beautiful women." He laughed and squeezed the woman next to him. "Speaking of beautiful women, this is my lady right here." I glanced in the rearview mirror. Just a quick look, professional, making sure my passengers were comfortable. That's when I saw her face. Jessica, my wife, sitting in the back seat of my car with another man's arm around her, wearing a dress I'd never seen before, makeup done in a way she never did for me anymore, smiling, happy. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. For a few seconds, I couldn't process what I was seeing. My brain refused to accept it. This had to be someone who looked like Jessica. Had to be. There was no way my wife, my Jessica, the woman I was killing myself working for, was sitting in the back seat with another man's arm around her. But then our eyes met in the mirror, and I saw the recognition hit her, saw her smile disappear, saw her face go completely white. She knew, and I knew, and for just a moment, the entire world stopped.
The man next to her kept talking. He had no idea. He was too drunk, too confident, too busy enjoying himself to notice that the woman next to him had just seen her husband and that the driver taking them home was that same husband. "So yeah, driver, take us to Riverside, Building C. You can just drop us at the front entrance." I didn't respond. Couldn't. My throat was completely closed. I kept my eyes on the road, but I could feel Jessica's stare burning into the back of my head. "Driver?" the man said again, annoyed now. "You hear me?" "Yes," I managed to say. My voice sounded strange, flat, like it was coming from somewhere far away. I started driving, away from the club, toward the highway, but I wasn't thinking about the address he'd given me. I wasn't thinking about the route. I was just driving. My mind was chaos, pure chaos. I kept seeing images. Jessica getting ready for her evening shift at the hotel, kissing me goodbye, telling me she'd be home late, not to wait up. But she wasn't going to work, was she? She was going out, to clubs with him, with this loud, arrogant man in the expensive suit who called her his lady? How long had this been going on? Weeks? Months? While I was working myself to death, sleeping in my car between shifts, barely staying awake long enough to eat, she was out living another life, a life that didn't include me. All those nights she came home exhausted. Was she really working, or was she tired from being with him? All those times she said she had to cover an extra shift. Was that true? Or was it a lie to spend more time with someone else? "Hey man, I think you missed the turn," the guy said from the back seat. "Riverside is back that way." I didn't respond. I kept driving. We were on the highway now, heading out of the city. "Driver?" His voice was getting irritated. "Did you hear me? You're going the wrong way." Jessica finally spoke. Her voice was small, scared. "Maybe he's taking a different route." "There's no other route," the guy said. "This goes out of the city. Hey, driver, what are you doing?" I pressed harder on the gas. The speedometer climbed. 60, 70, 80. "Whoa, slow down," the guy said, real concern in his voice now. "What the hell is your problem?" "Stop the car," Jessica said. She wasn't trying to hide anymore. She knew what was happening. "Please, just stop the car." I didn't stop. I went faster. The city lights were disappearing behind us. Ahead was just darkness, empty highway, no other cars around at this hour. "I'm calling the police," the guy said. I heard him fumbling with his phone. "No signal," he said after a moment. "Why is there no signal?" Because we were in the middle of nowhere. The highway out here went through empty farmland. No cell towers, no rest stops, nothing for miles. "What do you want?" Jessica's voice was breaking. "What are you doing?" What was I doing? I didn't know. I hadn't planned this, hadn't thought it through. I was just driving, because if I stopped, if I had to look at them, if I had to think about what I'd just discovered, I would completely lose it. "I worked 3 jobs," I said. My voice was shaking. 3 jobs. I haven't slept more than 4 hours a night in 3 months. I eat 1 meal a day because we can't afford groceries. I haven't bought new clothes in 2 years. My car is falling apart, but I can't fix it because every single dollar goes to keeping us from being evicted." "Oh, God," Jessica said. She was crying now. "Who is this guy? You know him?" Jessica didn't answer. "I'm her husband, the husband who's been killing himself trying to keep her from drowning, while she's been out with you." "Look, man, I didn't know," the guy said quickly. His confidence was gone. Now he just sounded scared. "She said she was single. I swear I didn't know." "Shut up," I said. I swerved into the oncoming lane. There was a car coming toward us in the distance, its headlights getting closer. "Stop!" Jessica screamed. "You're going to kill us!" At the last second, I swerved back. The other car flew past us, honking furiously. "You're insane! Let us out!" "I gave you everything," I said. I was screaming now. All the exhaustion, all the stress, all the pain of the last few months was pouring out. I gave up sleep. I gave up my health. I gave up having any kind of life. And you were out partying with him, wearing nice dresses, laughing, happy? "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I'm so sorry." "When? How long?" 2 months, she whispered. 2 months. I'd been working 3 jobs for 4 months, so for half of that time, while I was destroying myself for us, she'd been with him. "Why?" I asked. "Just tell me why." "Because I was tired," she said, her voice broken and raw. "I was so tired of being poor, of counting every dollar, of never being able to do anything or go anywhere or have anything nice. He offered me a way out, a chance to feel normal, to feel like a person instead of just someone drowning in bills." "So you cheated." "Yes," she said, "I cheated, and I know that makes me terrible. I know there's no excuse, but I just wanted to feel happy again, just for a little while." The man next to her was silent now, probably realized that anything he said would make things worse. I kept driving, mile after mile. The highway turned into a smaller road, then an even smaller road. We were deep in the country now. No streetlights, no houses, just fields and darkness. Finally, I pulled over. The road was completely empty. Not a single car in either direction. No lights anywhere except my headlights cutting through the darkness. I turned around to face them. Jessica was crying silently, mascara running down her face. The man next to her looked terrified, his earlier confidence completely gone. "Get out," I said. "What?" the guy said. "Here? We're in the middle of nowhere." "Get out of my car." You can't just leave us here. There's nothing around. No signal. No houses. Nothing. Should have thought about that before you decided to sleep with another man's wife. Please, Jessica said, don't do this. I'll end it with him. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't leave us here. I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman I'd loved since I was 20 years old. This woman I'd married. This woman I'd been working myself to death for. And I felt nothing. No love, no anger, just emptiness. Get out, I repeated.
You can't be serious, the guy said. This is kidnapping. This is illegal. You'll go to jail for this. Then I'll go to jail, I said. Right now, I don't care. Get out. Jessica reached for the door handle, her hand shaking. Can we at least talk about this, please? Just talk? We're done talking. I've been working 3 jobs while you've been building a whole other life behind my back. There's nothing left to talk about. I made a mistake, she said. A terrible mistake. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can work through it. I laughed. It came out harsh and bitter. Work through it? Like I've been working through poverty? Like I've been working through exhaustion? Like I've been working through slowly destroying my body and mind so we could survive? That's not fair, she said. Fair? I turned to look at her fully. Is it fair that I haven't had a day off in 4 months? Is it fair that I sleep in my car because I'm too tired to drive home between jobs? Is it fair that I've been eating 1 meal a day so there's enough food for both of us while you were eating at nice restaurants with him? She didn't have an answer for that. The guy cleared his throat. Look, I get that you're upset. You have every right to be. But leaving us out here is dangerous. It's the middle of the night. There could be animals. We have no way to call for help. You should have considered danger before you got into a car with a man whose life you helped destroy. I told you, I didn't know she was married. Yes, you did, Jessica said quietly. I told you I was married. I told you my husband was working multiple jobs. You said it didn't matter. You said he clearly wasn't making me happy if I was looking elsewhere. The guy's face went red. That's not, Get out, I said again. Both of you, now. Jessica opened her door slowly. The cold night air rushed into the car. She stepped out onto the empty road, her heels clicking on the pavement. She was shivering in her thin dress. The guy followed, looking around nervously at the darkness surrounding us. They stood there next to my car, illuminated by the headlights. Jessica's makeup was completely ruined from crying. The guy kept looking at his phone, desperately trying to get a signal. My wallet is in here, the guy said, trying one last time. I can pay you, whatever you want. Just take us back to the city. I don't want your money. Then what do you want? I wanted a wife who didn't betray me. I wanted a marriage that meant something. I wanted to believe that the person I was killing myself for actually gave a damn. But I don't get what I want, and now neither do you. I put the car in drive. Wait, Jessica said, stepping forward. At least tell me where we are. Give us some idea of how to get back. You're about 40 miles outside the city. You're on County Road 12. If you walk east, you'll eventually hit a gas station, probably about 10 miles. 10 miles? The guy said. She's wearing heels. She can't walk 10 miles. Then you better carry her. This is insane, he said, his voice rising. You're insane. When we get back to the city, I'm pressing charges. I'm calling the police. You'll lose everything. I already lost everything, I said. The moment I saw you two in my mirror, I lost everything that mattered. I looked at Jessica one last time. I'm filing for divorce. Don't contact me. Don't come back to the apartment. Take whatever you want. I don't care. We're done. Please, she whispered, don't leave like this. But I did. I hit the gas and drove away, watching them get smaller and smaller in my rearview mirror until they disappeared completely into the darkness. I drove in silence for a long time. No music, no thoughts, just the sound of the engine and the road beneath my tires. I felt numb, empty, like someone had reached inside me and scooped everything out, leaving just a hollow shell. Part of me expected to feel guilty, expected to turn around and go back, but I didn't.
I kept driving toward the city, and every mile that passed felt like cutting a rope that had been strangling me. By the time I got back to the city, the sun was starting to rise. I went to the apartment, our apartment, the place we'd built our life together. It looked different now, smaller, sadder. Every object held a memory that now felt poisoned. I packed a bag, just clothes and my laptop and some basic stuff. I didn't take much, didn't want much. I left my keys on the kitchen counter and walked out. I checked into a cheap motel on the edge of town, the kind that rents by the hour and doesn't ask questions. I paid cash for a week and collapsed on the bed. My phone started ringing almost immediately. Jessica. I declined the call. She called again, declined, again, declined. Then the text started. Please answer. We need to talk. I'm so sorry. Please let me explain. We're at a gas station. Please come pick us up. I know you're angry, but leaving us there was too far. Please, just talk to me. I turned off my phone, lay there staring at the ceiling. I'd been up for almost 24 hours. My body was screaming for sleep, but my brain wouldn't shut off. I kept replaying the moment I saw her in my mirror, the shock on her face, the guilt, the fear, but also, underneath all of that, I'd seen something else. Relief, maybe, like part of her was glad it was finally open in the open, like she was tired of lying. How many times had she lied to me? How many shifts at the hotel were actually nights out with him? How many times had she come home and kissed me goodnight, knowing where she'd just been? The worst part wasn't even the cheating. People cheat, it happens. Marriages fall apart. I could have handled that, maybe. Could have gone to counseling, worked through it, tried to rebuild. The worst part was that I'd been breaking myself in half trying to save us, and she'd already given up. She'd checked out of our marriage and hadn't told me. She'd let me keep working myself into the ground for a life she no longer wanted. I must have fallen asleep eventually, because when I woke up, it was dark outside again. I'd slept through the entire day. My phone was still off. I turned it on and immediately regretted it. 63 missed calls, most from Jessica. Some from numbers I didn't recognize, probably her family, probably the guy from last night who somehow got my number. And voicemails, so many voicemails. I listened to the first one. It's me, Jessica's voice, small and broken. I know you don't want to talk to me. I know I don't deserve for you to listen, but please, just hear me out. What happened last night, leaving us there? That was cruel. I know I hurt you. I know I betrayed you. But what you did was dangerous. We could have been hurt. We could have died out there. She was crying. I could hear the tears in her voice. Part of me wanted to feel bad, wanted to feel guilty for leaving them stranded. But mostly I just felt tired. The next voicemail. We had to walk for hours. Michael called his friend when we finally got signal. They picked us up around 5 in the morning. My feet are bleeding. I had to throw away my shoes. Michael is threatening to call the police. I told him not to. I told him this was between us and we'd handle it. But I need you to call me back. Please, we need to talk about what happens next. I deleted it and moved to the next one. I understand why you're angry. I understand why you hate me. But you can't just disappear. We have bills to pay. We have rent due in a week. We have a life together. Even if that life is falling apart, you can't just run away from it. Actually, I could, and I was. The next voicemail was from a number I didn't recognize. This is Michael Chen, the man you kidnapped last night. I'm giving you one chance to make this right. Call me back within 24 hours and we can settle this without involving the police. If I don't hear from you, I'm filing charges. What you did was illegal, dangerous, and completely unhinged. You're lucky Jessica convinced me not to go to the cops immediately. Don't make me regret giving you this chance. I deleted it. More voicemails from Jessica. I loved you. I still love you. I know you don't believe that. I know my actions prove otherwise, but it's true. I got lost. I got tired and scared, and I made terrible decisions. But that doesn't mean I don't love you. Please call me back. Please. I'm staying at my sister's place. I went to the apartment, but you're not there. Your car isn't there. I don't know where you are. I'm worried about you. I know that's probably not fair for me to be worried about you after what I did, but I am. Please, just let me know you're okay. Michael is serious about the police. He's giving you until Monday. That's 2 days. After that, he's filing kidnapping charges. I can't stop him. I tried, but he's scared. He thinks you're unstable. Please call him back, or call me. Let's figure this out before it gets worse. I turned off the phone again. I didn't care about Michael Chen or his threats. Let him call the cops. Let him come arrest me. At least in jail I wouldn't have to think about any of this. But I knew I was being stupid, emotional. I needed to think clearly, figure out my next move. First, the apartment. Jessica was right. We had rent due, bills to pay. I couldn't just abandon all of that. Even if I wanted to leave her, I couldn't leave the financial mess behind. It would ruin my credit, follow me wherever I went. Second, the job. I needed to keep working, needed money more than ever now if I was going to start over somewhere new. Third, the divorce. I needed a lawyer, needed to figure out how legally to separate from Jessica as cleanly and quickly as possible. I spent the next 2 days in that motel room planning. I made a list of everything I needed to do, called my bank and set up a new account that only I had access to, started having my paychecks deposited there, called the warehouse and told them I was dealing with a family emergency but would be back on Monday. I didn't call Jessica, didn't call Michael. Let them worry. Let them wonder what I was going to do. I didn't owe them anything. Not explanations, not apologies, not reassurance. On Sunday afternoon, I finally went back to the apartment. I'd timed it for when I knew Jessica would be at her sister's place. I went in, grabbed the rest of my stuff, and left. On the kitchen table, I left a note. I'm filing for divorce. Find your own lawyer. We'll split the debts and figure out the apartment situation through our attorneys. Don't try to contact me. If Michael wants to press charges, tell him to do it. I don't care anymore. I left my wedding ring next to the note. Then I drove to a different part of the city and found another cheap place to rent. Week to week, no lease, just a room with a bed and a bathroom. It was depressing as hell, but it was mine. Clean slate. Monday came. I went back to work. My supervisor asked if everything was okay, if my family emergency was resolved. I told him it was handled, didn't give details, just put my head down and worked. That night, I went out driving again. Same routine, multiple apps, taking whatever rides paid the most. It felt weird at first. Every time someone got in my back seat, I'd look in the mirror and half expect to see Jessica there. But it was always strangers, people going to work, going home, going out, normal people living normal lives. Around midnight, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Is this the driver from Friday night? A woman's voice, not Jessica. Who is this? My name is Sarah Chen. I'm Michael's sister. He gave me your number. Great. More of the Chen family coming after me. What do you want? I wanted to talk to you before my brother does something stupid. He's planning to file a police report tomorrow, but I wanted to hear your side first. My side? My brother was sleeping with my wife. That's my side. I know. Jessica told me everything, and I'm not defending what they did. But what you did in response was dangerous. You left them 40 miles outside the city in the middle of the night with no way to get help. They got help. Eventually, after hours of walking in the dock, Michael stepped on broken glass. He needed stitches. Jessica's feet were a mess. They could have been attacked, could have been hit by a car. A lot of things could have gone wrong. But they didn't. They're both fine. So what's your point? My point is that I can convince Michael not to press charges, but only if you agree to stay away from both of them. No contact, no retaliation, no drama. I'm not looking for drama. I'm trying to move on with my life. Good, then we have a deal. You leave them alone, Michael won't involve the police. Fine. One more thing, she said. Jessica wanted me to tell you she's sorry. She knows that doesn't mean anything. She knows she destroyed your marriage, but she wanted you to know. Tell her I don't care about her apology. Tell her to sign the divorce papers when she gets them and stay out of my life." I hung up.
That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, I've settled into a new routine. Wake up, go to the warehouse, work my shift, come home, sleep for a few hours, go out driving until late, come back, sleep a little more. It's not much different from before, honestly. Still working too much, still exhausted, still just trying to survive. But there's one major difference. I'm doing it for myself now, not for us, not for a marriage that was already dead, just for me. And somehow, that makes it easier to handle. The divorce papers got filed last week. Jessica signed them without contest, didn't ask for anything except her half of what little savings we had left, which was basically nothing. The apartment lease is up in 2 months. We agreed to just let it go. Neither of us can afford it alone anyway. I haven't seen her since that night. I haven't talked to her. A few times she's tried to reach out through mutual friends, asking how I'm doing, saying she wants closure. But I don't have anything to say to her. What closure is there? She cheated. I found out in the worst possible way. I reacted badly. We're getting divorced. End of story. Michael Chen never filed charges. His sister kept her word. I see them sometimes in my head, though, standing on that dark, empty road, watching my taillights disappear. I wonder what they talked about during those hours of walking. Did they blame me? Did they blame themselves? Did it bring them closer together or tear them apart? I don't actually care, but I still wonder. The thing nobody tells you about betrayal is that it doesn't just break your heart, it breaks your entire understanding of reality. I thought I knew Jessica, thought I knew what our marriage was, thought I knew who I was. Turns out I didn't know any of it. For years I saw myself as the good guy, the hard worker, the faithful husband, the man who sacrificed everything for the woman he loved. But that night, sitting in that car with them in the back seat, I saw a different version of myself. Someone angry enough to endanger other people. Someone capable of cruelty. Someone who could drive 2 people into the middle of nowhere and leave them there without looking back. I didn't know I had that in me. Part of me wishes I still didn't know. Part of me is glad I do. Because now I know my limits. I know what I'm capable of when pushed far enough. I know that everyone has a breaking point, even people who think they don't. I don't regret what I did that night. Should probably feel guilty, should probably feel ashamed, but I don't. They betrayed me in the worst possible way, and I responded. Maybe it was extreme, maybe it was dangerous, but it was honest, it was real. It was the first real thing that happened in our marriage in months. Sometimes late at night when I'm driving through empty streets, I think about that moment when I saw Jessica in my mirror. The shock, the recognition, the way everything I thought I knew just collapsed in an instant. And I think about what she said, that she was tired of being poor, tired of struggling, that she wanted to feel happy again, even if it meant betraying everything we'd built together. I get it now. I understand why she did it. When you're drowning financially, when every day is just about survival, when you can't see any light at the end of the tunnel, you start making desperate choices. You start looking for any escape, any way out, even if it means hurting the people you love. She chose to escape through cheating. I chose to escape by working myself to death. Both of us were just trying to survive in our own ways. Both of us failed. The money problems that started all of this, they're still here. I'm still in debt, still working too much, still barely getting by. But at least now I'm only responsible for myself. I don't have to worry about someone else. Don't have to feel guilty about not providing enough. Don't have to wonder if the person I'm sacrificing for actually appreciates it.
Last week, I picked up a passenger who was coming home from a late shift at a hospital. She looked exhausted. We talked a little during the ride. She mentioned her husband was also working nights, that they barely saw each other anymore, that they were both so tired all the time. But it's worth it, she said. We're in it together. That's what matters. I didn't tell her about Jessica. Didn't tell her that being in it together isn't always enough. That sometimes one person checks out while the other person is still fighting. That love and loyalty and sacrifice don't always get rewarded. I just dropped her off and wished her luck. I think about the night I left them on that road a lot. Not with guilt or regret, but with a kind of dark satisfaction. They took something from me, something I can never get back. Trust, hope, belief in the future. So I took something from them, too. Security, comfort, the illusion that actions don't have consequences. Was it right? Probably not. Was it fair? Debatable. But it was justice in its own twisted way. They wanted to take a ride together, so I took them on one they'll never forget. I don't know what happened between Jessica and Michael after that night. If they're still together, if they stayed together out of shared trauma, or if the whole experience destroyed whatever they had. I don't care enough to find out. They're not my problem anymore. My problem is figuring out how to rebuild a life from scratch, how to trust people again, how to believe in things like marriage and commitment when I've seen firsthand how easily they can be destroyed, how not to become bitter and closed off and angry at the world. I don't have answers to any of that yet. I'm just taking it one day at a time, working, driving, surviving. It's not much of a life, but it's honest, it's mine, and nobody's betraying me in it. Sometimes passengers ask me about my life, ask if I'm married, if I have kids, what my story is. I keep it vague, say I'm going through some changes, that I'm figuring things out. They usually don't push for details. Everyone's got their own problems. Nobody actually wants to hear about mine. But if they did ask, if someone really wanted to know what happened to me, I'd tell them this. I learned that love isn't enough, that working hard isn't enough, that sacrifice isn't enough, that sometimes you can give everything you have and still lose, that betrayal doesn't just come from enemies or strangers, it comes from the people you trust most. And when it does, it reveals things about yourself you never wanted to know. I'm not the good guy in this story, but I'm not the villain either. I'm just someone who got pushed too far and pushed back. Someone who discovered that underneath the exhaustion and the stress and the desperate need to make things work, there was anger. Real, raw anger that had been building for months. That anger saved me in a way. It woke me up, made me realize I'd been killing myself for someone who didn't value what I was giving. It hurt like hell, still does, but it also set me free. So no, I don't regret leaving them on that road. I regret that things got to that point. I regret that our marriage fell apart. I regret that financial stress destroyed something that might have been beautiful. But I don't regret my response in that moment. It was all I had left. Drop your thoughts below and hit subscribe for more stories like this.